Do you wake up before the kids?
Yeah. I've been this week setting my alarm so I'm up before them, and I'm getting more organised when I do that, because normally they just come in and wake me up, and it's just like mayhem from the get-go.
Yeah. And that's why I've got these time slots at 7, because it kind of does force you to get up earlier and give you a reason to do it. And then, I've even found it myself. I've had my coaching at 7 a.m. and Megan's been getting up earlier because I'm preoccupied. She has to get up with the girls. So it puts you in that rhythm for the day. But anyway, on to you. Where are you at?
Since this, I'm trying to get myself into a good routine. So basically, I came out of being a shift worker for 8 years straight into having babies. And that's been like basically for the last 8 years of babies waking me up as well. So I've just got to a point in my life where I might be able to actually form some normal sleep patterns, if that's a word, normal.
Yep.
But so I've just started like up until the last week. I've been keeping myself up until midnight. That's my time as such.
Yep.
Mate. So prior to that, I used to just put the girls to bed and I'd be up, folding, washing, doing bookwork, just getting all the stuff done that I couldn't get done in the day.
Yep.
So now I've just like cut all that, and now it's like girls are in bed at 7:30. I'm in the shower winding down at 8, have a snack at 8:30, and then I make sure TV's off by 9:30 and I'm in bed listening to a meditation.
Cool.
So basically I'm asleep by about 10 lately.
And how's that made you feel?
Heaps better this week. Yeah. And then set my alarm for 6:30. So it's gone off a couple of times. I'm just like, oh my God. But like, I think it's just that breaking that cycle.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think if I can continue this on, things will change. Like I'll feel better every day. And then that getting up early is not going to affect me so much.
Yeah. And there's an analogy I like to use with coaching is touching the stove, right? Or even probably a better one is a campfire. So when you have kids and you have a campfire, they don't necessarily know how hot it is, right? So they go really close and they might get a little burn on their skin. And then as you go along and you learn how far you can actually have your hand before you get burnt, you figure out that point in which you can sustain, right? So for example, when we want to change, quite often what will happen is we go from one extreme to another. So we'll go from counting calories to just not even giving a total crap about them, right? And then what will happen is you will go back to counting calories, and then you binge again. But then slowly over time, you start to forget about the extremes of counting calories. You just become calorie aware, and you find that midpoint, right? Now, I'm using this analogy because it's something you can probably relate to with what you've done previous to this. But in regards to how it will apply to your sleep, right now you're in a great routine where you're getting up at 6:30 a.m. and you go to bed by 10. That'll slowly creep back. So you'll notice maybe it'll be 10:15, 10:30, 10:45, and then your sleep will start to go back towards the 7. And that's the place where you'll feel as though, oh shit, I'm failing. I don't have enough willpower. It's at that point where if you can bring it back, you'll start to develop the habit. So it's kind of like the first obstacle, the first hurdle to get over. When you do that, you need to really identify with how crappy it makes you feel, so that then you know how good it feels to be on the other end of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
Because what we'll do is Megan and I will go 6 months without eating any crap. right? And then we'll get to the end of 6 months and be like, oh, I wish I had, I could eat some chocolate. So then we'll spend 6 months and we'll have chocolate a couple nights a week. But then we'll get to a point at the end of that 6 months of having that crap and we'll be like, oh, I remember how good it felt to not eat it. So I'm just going to go back to that. And it's that constant cycle. There's never any standing still in life. It's a constant move. And if you can stay focused on the pain and the possibility, like we did with last week's vision, then you'll stay on track.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So it doesn't sound to me like you're struggling with anything in particular at the moment. Is that correct?
Not the past week. I forced myself into that straight away as soon as you've sent through the routine, I made my routine. I am going back to work possibly next week or the week after, and I'll be starting at 6:30 in the morning, so which will mean I'll need to be up at 5.
Yep.
And I won't finish till 6 o'clock at night. So would you say set a routine for those hours and do that every day, or just do those on the 3 work days?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a really good question, because I have a similar routine in the way that, I've had in the past where I had 6 a.m. classes and 6 p.m. classes when I was running the studio. And I always found that on the days that I had to get up early and I wasn't done till late, that I was tired, but I slept well because I'd been fried from the day.
Yeah.
And on the days that I didn't have that routine, I found that I was sleeping in, but I was more tired towards the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you might find a benefit in, keeping it consistent.
Yeah.
And finding ways of being more productive on the days that you don't have work at the times that you're waking up.
Yeah, cool, yeah.
Rather than being in the mindset of catching up on sleep because you got up early the day before.
Yeah.
Figuring out a way to make it worthwhile being up, maybe having 1 or 2 days a week where you do get a sleep in, because you do need that. You do need that. It's just, it becomes a problem. It's when it's too much of a good thing. Like if you're sleeping in every single day, then you feel like crap.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I would try and stick to the routine as much as possible.
Yeah.
With that said though, getting up at 5 and then getting up at 6:30 is obviously a big jump. There's an hour and a half there. If on the days that you didn't have work, you got up at 5:30 or you got up at 6 o'clock, it wouldn't make much of a difference. But I would keep it as close to it as possible to see how you go. And at the end of the day, and this is for all of you ladies on the line and anyone watching in the replay, data is the only measure for whether or not something will work. So we can sit and plan and get our structures and our routines as good as possible in theory, but it's not until you start implementing it until you start to say, oh, okay, well, that's what I need to change here because of X, Y, Z, and that's when you start to tailor it. So this first 30 days is good because it's getting you thinking and it's getting you applying. But beyond that, that's where the real magic will happen, is when we start to track the data and we start to look at the patterns and make improvements.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else? Anything you want to cover before you let me go?
I don't think so. I think, that's sort of, I just wanted to double check about that once I start working. Try and stick to what I'm doing and see a result.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, you're already seeing results. You're already starting to feel good and function a little better. So that's motivation to keep going.